We go live to the summit of the G77, and we are going to listen to the statements of President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. Let's listen.
That today, once again, is the host par excellence of the South people. Havana, capital of the global South family. I don't think it could have been better for the G77 and China to gather precisely at the epicenter of the resistance of Latin American and Caribbean people, revolutionary Cuba, popular Cuba, the Cuba founded by the great Fidel Castro Ruz. And here we are in Havana. We have traveled 28 hours from Beijing to Algeria and from Algeria to Havana to be in time and shake your hand, my dear comrade, and share with this big family. I was commenting with an African president. This is our house. This is our family. This is a space where we are all equal, where nobody tries to impose or nominate or plunder or exclude anybody or humiliate. This is a great big African, Asian, Latin American, Caribbean family. The South countries. The G77 will be celebrating its 60th anniversary, and later on the fact that China joined us. Next year we will have the summit in Uganda. We wish Uganda all success in the holding of that significant summit. 60 years, you can say that very quickly, but what has happened in the world during these last 60 years? We would have to wonder how many battles and fights and how many progress and setbacks, how many suffering, how much hope, sorry. And here we are, 60 years later, setting the pace for a civilized model that will allow for dialogue, inclusion, and integration. As countries of the South, we must find our own ways, our own political models, and not accept the dictates of any power or powers with colonial pretensions. The 21st century must be our century. We must encourage more coordination and collaboration in education, science, and technology. We cannot separate science and technology from education. We must promote practical cooperation among countries, among regions, and we must ask our brothers and sisters who have made greater progress within this family to help each other. We must call for greater support, greater assistance. Arriving from China, and I was quite impressed with the scientific and technological progress in the economic and social life of that country. We must request the new emerging countries that are part of our family like China and India, among others, to help us in accessing knowledge and technologies in terms of public health, which is very important in terms of agricultural and food production, in terms of industrial development, in terms of development and outer space management, to which we cannot renounce no matter how small we may be. We can't renounce knowledge, science, and technology applied to telecommunications, applied to social networks, and the internet. If there is a marked divide, is in the internet. Who manages the internet? Who produces the internet? Who has imposed the social networks that circulate in all our countries without regulations or legislation whatsoever? That is how social networks have an impact, as they do today, the social life and communication in our countries, with no possibility of national states guiding or regulating as it should be required. So we must apply science, knowledge, and technology for communicational independence in terms of the internet and social networks. Dear comrades, the G77 plus China should promote a powerful global initiative within the United Nations to stop unilateral coercive measures against all countries in the world. Today, we advocate for the lifting of the criminal blockade for more than 60 years against the Cuban people. My country, Venezuela, has been the victim in the last 6 years of more than 960 universal coercive measures in all fields of life. During the pandemic, from the north, there was a call for all antiviral producing companies and those producing vaccines and medicaments to threaten them if they sold something to Venezuela. We had to resort to the solidarity that allow Venezuela access in 2020 and 2021 medicaments, antivirals, and vaccines. And thanks to the solidarity and support of China, Russia, Cuba, India, and Turkey, that Venezuela, a country that is under a blockade, could have access to the required vaccines and drugs. It's time to say it's enough. Enough is enough. You cannot pursue those countries that want to develop or promote their own models. We have to do much more. We have walked a long road with a lot of experiences within these 60 years of the G77 plus China. And it seems that all historical, political conditions, geopolitical conditions are here so that South people can have sovereignty and independence in the 21st century, so that we may build the 21st century as our century, the century of free people without empires, without colonialism, with no hegemonism, free people, basing our relations on solidarity, cooperation, knowledge, and permanent complementarity. Comrade President Miguel Diaz-Canel, I deeply thank you for the invitation to our country, and Cuba and the G77 plus China may count with the steadfast support of our homeland, advocating for the noble causes of this century, the 21st century, the century of the South people. Thank you very much. We thank Comrade Nicolas Maduro, President of the Bolivarian Republic.
We were listening to the statement of Nicolas Maduro, President of Venezuela. He stated that this is a summit where no one is excluded and that the country of the South must be united to face the problematics that offend them. He also thanked President Miguel Diaz-Canel for the invitation. More breaking news coming up. Stay tuned.